guys! Today I wanted to talk you through the books I have read in January. I have my little notebook here that has all the information. And yeah, let's get started. The first book I finished was a book by an Algerian author, and the book was originally written in French and I don't think it has been translated into English yet. The German title was Worauf die Affen warten, and this is kind of a crime novel that has a very big political influence. So this is all about a murder in Algiers where a young girl is found naked and dead in the woods, and there is a police force and especially one officer who is female and also a lesbian, and she tries to find out who murdered this girl. But during the search for the murderer, they get mixed up in a huge deal of political intrigue and stuff like that. This book was very interesting. The writing style was super descriptive, and I think it's just a writing style that doesn't translate into German too well. I had a hard time getting into this book, but as the story progressed and we found out more and more about the social system in Algiers, it got very much enjoyable, but the beginning was really slow and very descriptive and weird. So all in all, I gave this book 3 stars. And the author is Yasmina Khadra, which is a, it's not the real name of the person, but you know, he wrote under this name so that the Algerian government would not sue him. The next book I finished was an audiobook, and the only audiobook I've read in January because I decided to take a little bit of an audiobook break, and that was Seasons Meeting by Amy Dunn. This is a book about 2 women. One is more like in her early 30s, I think, and the other one in her mid-20s. And the older one is kind of like the main character, and she's very career-driven. She had a relationship before, but that didn't end well, so she really focuses on her career. But she has one best friend somewhere in Scotland, and she invites her to spend Christmas with the whole family in Scotland. Now, our main character is not into that, and she tries to get out of that, but in the end she has to go up there, but she misses her flight. And the only way to get to Scotland in time is to travel with a cousin of the friend's wife. So they end up in a car together. That's the basic setup, and they have to travel up north to Scotland and are hit by a snowstorm. And this is a romance which was really cute and really fun. Obviously it lacks a little bit of reality and some things are resolved quite easily, but it was such a nice read for Christmas time. I read this mainly in the car, traveling back and forth from my family. And that was the perfect setting because most of it, or at least the first half of the book, takes place in the car. So it was very fitting and very fun, and I gave this book 4 stars. Then I finished a German book, which I think is not translated as well. Got this from the library as well as the first book that I've mentioned, and I've already returned them, though I can't hold them up. And this book is called Isola, and it's by Isabel Abedi. This book is about a group of teenagers, I think it's 12, who are selected to go on to an island. And on this island they have kind of that Big Brother situation. So there's cameras everywhere and they are watched for a certain amount of time, and all that they're told is that they will stay on this island for 3 weeks, I think, and then there will be a TV show made out of the material. They don't really have like a set of rules or anything, so all these teenagers are a bit nervous, but they basically think that they're going to spend a nice holiday there and are filmed doing it. But obviously things go wrong and this turns into kind of a thriller, kind of. Now this was always pitched as a German Hunger Games, which I think is the worst pitch ever because it has nothing to do with Hunger Games. But it was a fun, entertaining book. I still thought that, you know, it's not really thrilling. It's always very easy to see where the story is going. Even though there were a couple of twists and turns at the end, I felt like the overall thing got pretty clear. during the novel, like there's a bit of foreshadowing, so you can definitely see what's going on. But yeah, it was fun. I gave it 3 stars, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it like highly. The next book I finished, I borrowed from my best friend and already returned it as well, but it was And the Ocean Was Our Sky by Patrick Ness. Now this is a very interesting story about a whale, and this story is a retelling of Moby Dick, but we switch the roles. So we're following the whales, which are a very war-driven people, and they fight this huge fight against the humans. And there is one mystical human called Toby Wick, I think, and he is said to be the root of all evil, basically. And the one who kills Toby Wick will end war with the humans. I really like this idea. I have not read Moby Dick, and I probably never will, because it's such a huge book and it's really intimidating. And still I got some of the, you know, things that were very similar with the original, and I think that was very well done. For example, we have the first sentence, which is basically the same, just with the name of the whale, which is Bathsheba. What I also liked is that the whales that were the main focus were all female. So it's a female squad basically, which is always fun. And they had very, very different personalities. So it was very easy to distinguish between those 4 whales that were following. I think we could have gotten a little bit more world building. I thought that we got hints here and there, and they were very interesting, but it wasn't really fleshed out. It's still more of a character study of the main whale Bathsheba, and then also an action story, even though I felt like there wasn't too much happening, but there is some blood spilled and stuff like that, so yeah. Overall, I gave this book a 3.5 stars because I felt like it was really nice, but maybe I should have read the original to pick up on more stuff. I loved the illustrations. I think those are fantastic. It's a beautiful book to have on the shelves, but still the story just lacked some depth for me, and I think the ending is a bit weird and a bit off. So at least for me, it was just a bit crazy, but I don't know how much that is influenced by the original piece because I don't know how Moby Dick ends. Then I have one more book that I finished, and I have it here because I have not returned it to the library yet, but I'll have to do that in 3 days, and that is The Heart of the Night by Judith Lennox. Now this book is historical fiction. This follows 2 girls. One is born into a very wealthy family. She's the daughter of a Russian, a Russian man who has a lot of money, a lot of business stuff, a businessman basically, and a English woman, but her mother dies pretty early in her life. And so the father tries to find someone who will spend time with her because she's traveling a whole ton, so she doesn't really have a lot of friends and stuff. So she meets Kay, which is an English girl, and Kay gets to spend, I think, a year or year and a half with her and travel with her and kind of be her paid friend. But after that time, she is thrown out of the family and things happen, and we basically follow the lives of these 2 girls as well as some other characters that they meet along the way, and this is mainly focused on World War II, which I was kind of disappointed because I thought that it would focus more on the time before the war, but it is heavily focused on the war. The wealthy girl Miranda actually marries a German duke, I think, and yeah, survives the war being a German wife basically, while Kay is very against war, but when the war actually starts, she decides to go into the military. And yeah, that's basically what this book is about. I did not enjoy it for the most part. I thought that the premise on the back was kind of misleading because it tells you that it focuses a lot on the friendship of the girls, and that is not the case, because for most of the book they are not in contact, they don't talk, they don't even think about each other. It's mainly about their, love life with multiple characters that they're in love with, or they marry, or they have affairs with, and stuff like that. I really did not like that in this book the affairs were always handled in a way that they were okay because that was the real love, and the person they married were just, better off or something. And I don't think that is a very good message, because I think maybe that is true, maybe you marry someone because he's wealthy and he can protect you, but then you should stick to that and not go fuck someone else, basically. So that was a huge part of this book, with multiple character combinations, and I did not like this. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, there were too many characters. I never identified with any of those, and I think you don't really get into the depth of the characters. You always have a lot of distance to the characters. You don't really fear for them, you don't really feel for them, and the ending as well was very unrealistic in my opinion. Okay, lastly I want to show you a couple of books that I've read but not finished in January. One is The Silmarillion. I'm reading this aloud to my partner on video because he's abroad, and I'm almost finished, so that's great. But yeah, I made a good dent in this in January. I started this collection of stories, which is called The Starlit Wood by Dominic Parisian and Nava Wolf. But I only read the first 2 stories. So far I'm enjoying it a ton. I think this is a very fun collection of new fairy tales, so retellings of old stories. And I like that a lot. The first 2 were very good. And one book I'm definitely struggling with is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I don't know with this book. I've been reading this for a while now, I think like 2 weeks, and I still have so much left, and I have to return it the day after tomorrow. No, tomorrow! Oh my god. And I don't know whether I will be able to finish it. It has to go back to the library, and I'm not really enjoying it a ton. Like, so far this is a solid 3-star book. It's not bad, but it's not great, and nothing's happening really. I don't know, I'm just not really lucky with my book choices right now, but also I think maybe that is because I'm traveling a lot in February now, and I'm super excited about that, so maybe all the books I'm picking up just feel a little bit boring in comparison to, my excitement. I don't know, but yeah, I'm definitely struggling with that. I hope I can finish it today or tomorrow at least. But I think I have almost 200 pages left, and it takes me forever to read this book. Like, in 2 hours I barely read 70 pages because I don't know why. There's just so much text on one page and it drags. I don't know. So yeah, that was my January in reading. I think February will not be that great, but I'm really looking forward to traveling a ton. I hope you have a great time. If you, when you see this video, I will be gone for a while. I'll almost be back, to be honest, but I wanted to plan this video out so that, you wouldn't really see me being gone a whole ton. So I hope you enjoyed this, even though this will be up quite late in February. If you did leave a like or a nice comment, I always appreciate those. If you've read any of these books and want to share your opinion, definitely do. I would love to hear about that. And if you subscribe, I will talk to you soon. Bye!